Hey, this is Jeremy Roenick, and like everything, I only touch greatness. And I am coming up on their podcast right now. Don't miss it.
great steaks, great staff, head over to the John B. Pub.
We got the best beers, steaks, chicken wings, nachos in town. Come see us at the John B. Pub.
The John B. Pub, the best bar in town. Come sign up for our football pool. Say Hayes sent you.
Turn it up. The #1 sports podcast in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
That's okay. So
All
I'm
right.
Ryan, by the way. I'm the one that's been talking
Ryan
to
Hayes
you.
and Big
Very
Mike
nice to meet you.
are taking over the
What's up, Ryan,
podcast
by the
scene
way?
in Vancouver.
What's up, Ryan, by the way?
Get
Good to talk to you,
down
man.
or lay down.
Yeah, it's
Lay down.
Ryan Hayes.
Lay down.
But we actually ran into you about a month ago up here with Dale. I paid to get your autograph.
Oh yeah, fantastic! I love it. That was a fun little show up there. It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, JR. I think I met you a couple years ago at the NHL Awards in Vegas, actually.
Oh man, that had to have been 10
it was
years
like
ago.
8 years ago. Yeah.
I got that picture queued up, ready to roll here.
Go.
There it is.
Oh man, yeah.
Long time ago. You remember that?
Yeah, I was thin back then. I loved it.
Yeah. Bill's eyes aren't even open.
Yeah.
Good timing. Good timing.
Must have been a good one. Okay, let's get started. Born in Boston, what was childhood like for you growing up, and did you play any other sports?
I'd say it was pretty sports oriented. My brother and I were both big into sports. I played pretty much every major sport that most kids played. Baseball, soccer. I was a better soccer player probably than hockey player at the time when I was younger. Golfed at a young age. Yeah, I didn't play football until high school, where I kicked field goals for our high school team, just to stay busy during school. But during the fall semester, but I pretty much played everything. I was a total jock, and grew up in Boston and up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And again, life as a young kid with sports, pretty much 24/7 was pretty exciting.
Was there one sports athlete you kind of looked up to as a kid?
I think there's a few of them. I grew up in Boston, so the hockey wise, it was Rick Middleton to me. Again, I told you about my soccer background. Pele was really big. A soccer player named Giorgio Canaglia used to play for the Cosmos back in the 70s. He was I was a big fan of his. So, those are probably the ones that I kind of looked after. Bobby Orr. I mean, if I didn't say Bobby Orr, I'd be lying to you. So, those were pretty much the icons of my adolescence for sure.
Okay. And take us back to draft day, where you were drafted 8th overall to Chicago and straight out of high school, which is totally unheard of nowadays.
Well, it was unheard of. It was unheard of back then. Even more so. I mean, back in the 80s, you didn't have high school kids get drafted in the first round, especially ones that were 150 pounds. The kids that were getting drafted were either junior. Even the U.S. kids like Mike Modano, he got drafted number 1. He was of high school age, but he played in Prince Albert. He played in the Western League, so it was definitely a very, very rare thing. I think, the only other players I remember back in the 80s that were drafted out of high school were Bobby Carpenter, Phil Housley, Tom Barrasso. We were really the only ones that were drafted. Tommy Peterson was in the 90s. So, it was not a very, very popular thing for teams to draft you out of high school, because the mentality was Canadian hockey, tough, hard hitting. School wasn't really wasn't the popular thing back then towards NHL.
Do you have any good draft stories? I was told to ask you. One of my friends sent me a text message.
Well, you got to get my book, because my book has all my stories.
Of course, you got 2 books out right now.
Yeah, so reading my books would give you a lot of fun stories. But my agent at the time on draft day told me not to step on a scale, so they couldn't see how much I weighed. And I remember seeing Mike Keenan in the city the night before draft day at dinner, in the bathroom, and standing at the urinal asking me why they should draft me, and so on and so forth, and asked me if I had big balls. And I said, well, it's kind of ironic that you asked me if I have big balls where we're standing, but and I just said, you want a guy who go to the wall for you, who's wanted everything he's ever done, and is a competitor, and you should be drafting me. But the cool thing is there's a guy named Jack Davidson and Sean Cody, two Blackhawks scouts that were very, very heavy on drafting me. And I don't think a lot of the brass were really into drafting me number 8 overall that year. And Jack Davidson and Sean Cody pretty much said to their whole crew, if you don't draft this kid with our 8th pick, then we quit. And then we're not working for you anymore. We don't trust this kid's he's gonna be a superstar in the game, and we'll put our job behind this draft pick. And ended up picking me. Obviously, they didn't lose their job. They did pretty good.